Hey everyone, it's Andre here from SWL, and this is my full review of the XHDATA D-608 weather band, this radio. It was released in January of this year. Very, very capable little radio. I was sent this version by XHDATA for evaluation, so it's an evaluation copy. I have been doing some extensive tests using external antennas, testing it on different bands, and I have been very, very impressed with this little radio. So in this review, I'm going to talk about the features and what it can do, and also show you some reception tests. And there will be some links that you can click on. There will be cards in the video. There will also be some links in the description, so you can follow those for some of my previous quite extensive tests on this radio. XHDATA seems to have been incrementally improving their radios quite a bit. In 2018, they came out with this one, the XHDATA D-808, also known as the Siwadon D-808. This radio very quickly established a reputation as a very, very good shortwave radio and also really excellent on medium wave. It has some quirks. The speaker is not the best. The memory system that works with a page system is quite clunky and not very popular. I personally also don't like that very much. But they seem to have incrementally, with each new release, been improving and just making better and better radios. So in 2022, they came out with this one early in the year. This is a DSP-based radio, but with an analog display, the XHDATA D-368. Much better sound than on the D-808. Extremely sensitive reception. Also a very capable, very nice radio. I will do a full review of this one still at a later stage. And then also in 2022, this one came out, the XHDATA D-219. This little radio became legendary very, very quickly. It is extremely sensitive on shortwave, also good on the other bands. So this one has become a very, very popular shortwave radio for many people. Many people actually started shortwave listening. They picked up our hobby because of this radio, because it is so inexpensive. This is something that you can still pick up for around $10 if you order directly from the XHDATA website. And then early in 2023, we got the XHDATA D-109. This radio seemed to be almost as sensitive as the D-808 on shortwave, on medium wave, also added various other functions. It's a little bit less expensive than the D-808, but again, the sound quality was much improved, which helps a lot when you are trying to pick out very, very weak signals while you are DXing. There have been some small issues with this one in terms of overloading when you add an external antenna. Some people have experienced quite bad overloading on this one. For me personally, it hasn't been that bad. I have experienced it a little bit, but it seems to really depend on where you live and how many other strong transmitters you have in your area. So then in January of 2024, we got this one, the XHDATA D-608 weather band. It seems to have improved on all those little issues that were in some of the previous radios. Really top quality sound on this one. Very, very good sound when you are listening to weak signals. On medium wave, for example, it's much more intelligible on this one than on the D-808. The memory system has been improved. It's much easier to find your saved stations. And yeah, it just seems to be overall a radio that offers very good sensitivity in a very, very sturdy package. I really, really like the look of this radio. It's a little bit different from everything else that I have, but yeah, I really like it. It seems to have been developed mostly for the North American market because it has the NOAA emergency weather channels. And those channels, of course, are quite useless for anyone living outside the United States. But apart from that, it offers among emergency radios, I think the best shortwave reception that you can get. It offers the full shortwave band from 1.7 megahertz up to 29.9 megahertz. It offers the full medium wave band and various FM bands as well, depending on your region. And then, yeah, of course, it has the weather bands for if you live in the United States. But as an emergency radio, it has various other functions as well, which are all really, really quite useful, and they all seem to work really well. It's got a flashlight or a torch on this side with 3 light settings. Up here, it's got an LED light with 3 different light settings as well. It's very, very easy to operate these light switches. These 2 buttons at the top. The SOS one is the one that switches on your flashlight. So a mere press, it will be on, and second press, slightly stronger, third press, the brightest. Then next press, it's off. And for your LED light, the lock button is the one that switches on the LED light. First press, it's on. Second press, brighter. Third press, the brightest. And then fourth press, it's off. I have used this LED light. I live in South Africa. We have quite a lot of power cuts here. I have used this one, and it's not extremely bright, of course, because it is small, but it's more than sufficient to light up a small room. So that's a very useful function for anyone who lives in an area where you have regular power cuts. Very, very useful function. And it will last quite a while because this radio has a very good battery and quite a big battery. It is one of those 18650 batteries, 3000 milliampere hours. There you go. That's the battery, and it really does last long. This is not a low quality battery. I have had this radio now for about 3 weeks, and I've been using it extensively, and I've only charged it once in all that time. So the battery really lasts a very long time. So the hand crank system, I've tested it, it works. Let me show you. When I start turning, you can see it's charging, and you can see there at the battery, it's charging. And then, of course, you also have the solar panels to charge this radio. So you simply put it outside in the sunshine and it will charge. As you can see here, even as I walk out of the door, it starts charging immediately. And then, of course, you can just charge it with a regular cell phone charger, 5-volt charging here on the side. The radio was designed in a very clever way. You can see here, because it is an emergency radio, so these ports here on the side, they are protected, which means you can also take this one camping, for example. No dust or little bits of sand or whatever will get into your radio. And if I open this little strap, you will see we have here, this is for a USB cable so that you can charge your phone. This is another of the emergency functions that this radio has. That's where you charge it if you just do regular wall charging. And here we have the mini SD card, or the TF card, as it is known in some markets. So you can also play MP3s on this radio. And just close it again nicely. One of the small flaws that I have found on this radio is if you close this rubber strap here and you press too hard, your SD card pops out. So you must just be careful when you close it there that you don't press too hard here, because otherwise the SD card will pop out. As you can see, it has done there. So let me just press it back in. Right, let me show you some of the functions on the radio. To set your alarm, you press and hold the M button. You can see the time is flashing. You adjust your alarm, and the M button again takes it to the minutes. You adjust the time, and you can just confirm by pressing the M. And you can see now it flashes for your sleep reminder. And you just leave it if you're happy with that, and that's it. It's fixed. For your band settings, This is quite important. If you want to set your radio for use in North America for the 10K steps on medium wave, you need to select the FM band that they allocated for FM for North America, which is not the exact correct frequencies, but if you select as they indicate in the manual, then it will work. Then your medium wave settings will automatically be 10K. So you press and hold band. As you can see now, it's 87.5 to 108. I just took my finger off the band button again and it's set. So as you can see on the radio now, it is North American settings. It is in Fahrenheit, and if I were to switch it on for medium wave, you can see the medium wave is American 10K steps. So that's it. But if you are outside the US, you need to press and hold the band, and you can have this setting, 64 to 108, press and hold again, 76 to 108, press and hold again, 87 to 108. That is the one for Europe, Africa, most of the world. And that setting will make your medium wave 9K steps. So if I go to medium wave, you can see I'm on the 9K steps. So that's how you do that one. Let's first just have a look at the SD card. So to toggle between your different settings or functions on the radio, you need to use the M button again. If you hold and press, it goes to Bluetooth, and again it goes to TF card, mini SD card. So the sound on the SD card is nice. It's good. And it's quite easy to just move between your tracks up and down with these buttons. You can also fast forward by just holding in this button, as you saw me doing there. What I'm going to do now is to show you a couple of stations on FM. I'm going to show you one or two local stations, very, very good reception. And then I'm going to show you 4 stations that are from Pretoria. I live in Johannesburg. Pretoria is about 50 kilometers or 31 miles to the north of me. These stations come from various different transmitters in Pretoria. So they are distant FM stations. And this radio seems to pick them up in some cases with just the whip antenna. And then in some cases, when I add a little wire, it's a 10 meter, 27 feet wire, then the FM reception is actually quite excellent over quite a long distance, because those are not local stations. Pretoria is a city in its own right, and those stations are targeting audiences in Pretoria. The one, for example, is Tuks FM, which is the campus radio station of the University of Pretoria. That's the most distant one, probably because that is way to the eastern side of Pretoria. That is quite a distance from where I am, actually much more than just 50 kilometers. So you can have a look and a listen here. It is very, very sensitive on FM.
En dan het hy ook verder gegaan deur te sê ons gaan steeds die grond vat en ons gaan nie 'n sent daarvoor betaal nie, Oscar.
Ja, kyk, hy moet aanhou met daai soort van narratief, want dit is wat hy presies, dit is hoe sy party begin het. Dit is 'n gestig op die landkwessie.
Oh, I don't like the fact that our time is up already. What do you mean it's been nearly 2 hours?
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure hanging out with you on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. I pray that God will continue to shower you with lots of love and blessings. And of course, tomorrow is a Sunday, which means church. Super excited about that. Have a blessed weekend and a productive week. Cheers.
And we'll see you. And we are just about to wrap up the show in a few. It's been an amazing 3 hours with you. But it's almost time for us to go. It's almost time for us to leave. Places and people are calling us, so we need to leave. We're still having the conversation about, that thing that's trending of, if your card declines, who are they bringing out? And when it's just who would they bring out for you? Or what would they bring out? Yeah, they don't even have to be a present.
My ex-girlfriend.
Oh, what did she do?
That's why I'm never dating girls with names that start with an S ever in my whole.
Okay, so as you can see, it's very, very good on FM. On medium wave, it is equally good. I've done some tests before where I actually picked up some very distant medium wave signals. So you can have a listen. There's a card up there if you want to see. Let me just change the band. There are only 2 local medium wave stations that we will be able to catch now. So on medium wave, we have 657, which is a local station. It comes from a place called Meyerton, but it targets the Johannesburg area. It's called Radio Pulpit. That one is nice and clear always.
Skryf, so ek vermoed dat daar seker al tientalle moontlikhede in jou kop ronddraai nie waar.
O ja, baie, daar's baie.
Ja, so dit was jou debuut, nee, dit was jou debuut gewees.
Dis reg, ja. Dit was my debuut en ja, mense moet my maar volg op sosiale media om te sien wat is volgende.
Dit is fenomenaal. Ons gaan nou daardie besonderhede kry en Rensha, net 'n laaste woord van jou kant af.
Ag, baie dankie Jannie. Ek wil net
Inshallah ngicela ngizokhuluma nawe babutoba ucela uxolo babutoba ucela uxolo uSomandla ucela uxolo kuNkulunkulu ucela uxolo Allah Taala iviki elandelayo next week Saturday inshallah. So one of the minutes so it takes 2-3 minutes and siyabuya khona manje uma wavala marketing babize bonke mlaleli bazozwa nokuthi kumqoka kanjani.
That last station that you heard is 1548. That is Radio Islam. It is a very, very local medium wave station. It is in an area called Lenasia to the southwest of Johannesburg. It is about 30 kilometers from where I am. Just a 1 kilowatt transmitter. So, yeah, not a very powerful signal, not targeting my area at all. So as you can see on FM and medium wave, it performs actually really quite well. I'm very, very satisfied with the FM and medium wave performance. On FM, if you add a wire antenna, you also pick up some very distant stations. So that all works really, really nicely. For my shortwave demonstration in this review, I will do an ATS scan just on the whip antenna so that you can see what this radio picks up just by itself with its own built-in antenna. It's got quite a short whip antenna, but it is actually quite sensitive on that one. Then I will also add a wire, a 10 meter, 27 feet wire, and we can see what the improvement is. The time now is 17:29, 17:30 my local time, so that is 15:30 UTC. I have found that shortwave sensitivity on this one is really excellent. What is great is there is no overloading if you add an external antenna. I often use my 10-meter wire on this one, and yeah, there is absolutely no overloading. So that is a definite improvement from the XHDATA D-109, which preceded this radio.
I'm right here by your side. You are my world.
Brentford are leading, and Liverpool are 1-0 up here at home to Burnley at Anfield. Update now on the rugby. Jamie Lyle at Merrifield. Well, it remains Scotland 14 and perhaps some frustration for the Scots, still failing to capitalise on their territory, their possession inside the French 22.
专门的法律法规和统一的行业标准予以约束和规范。我们今天给关于领我们常见的这个中国的。 They can hear no better to you. But you on the community down with it.
Alim शिक्षक पेशामा छन् त्यो पनि भारतमा त्रिपुटीले पत्रकार जीवन पराजुलीद्वारा लिखित क्लोज अप पुस्तक
mRNA 疫苗从莫德纳和 BNT 还有蛋白质4单位疫苗从核酸的后呼号过全部比先拼透过 AZ 之後通過提出嘅時間係黑頭BNT 嘅部分啲應該是
多年在同时是国王在吉隆坡下的治疗发展者，他高科可解的动
想转个弯，却绕到了飞机上，把人类就。
Vegas Pudmaiwa Wusta Hagahom Nishta Murmizlandeva Hagahom Nishta Yani Shimata Handihar Tumanlal Lara Kuleiwa Wusta Hagahom Nishta Yabash
So what occurred was labor organizations, generally known as unions, began to develop. ଗଛ ଛାଡ଼ି ଯାଇଥାଏ। ପେଟ ପଣକୁଥିଲେ ସମ ପରିମାଣରେ ମହୁ, ଅଦା ରସ, ପିଆଜର ରସକୁ ମିଶାଇ 3 ଚାମଚ କରି 3 ଦିନ ସେବନ କଲେ ପେଟ ତଥା ରୋଗ ଭଲ। ପେଟ ବଙ୍କା ରୋଗ No, carpet bagging really goes back to days of this. Out on strike, they're not going to work, and they set up picket lines outside. And the problem with the picket lines was the police would come along. Now, oftentimes they were the private police.
우리 사장님은 다 이루었다 말씀하시고 숨을 거두셨습니다. 그리고 지금까지 순정하고 이 거짓말을 묻고 돌리셨죠. 그런데 인간이 몸을 입으셨기에 세상에 포기하고 싶었을 겁니다. 죽으셨습니다.
Мы нащупали, да, у нас есть комментарии, да. Друзья, присоединяйтесь к нам, пишите нам комментарии, конечно, ставьте лайки, делайте репосты. Делитесь нашими эфирами на своих страничках в соцсетях, это очень важно, и, значит, и здесь, на самом деле, важно...
Hours, 24 minutes, coordinated universal time. भाव भंगिमाएं इस्तेमाल की गई थी। इनके विपरीत मेरी पेंटिंग तो बिल्कुल बेरंगी और उदास से दिखती थी। गिनती के 4 रंग इस्तेमाल किए थे। तो अचानक दिल में भय बैठ गया कि अब सबके प्रतिक्रिया वही होगी जो मेरी माँ की थी।
Программу Всемирной радиосети на коротких волнах. Первое. Радиопрограмма выйдет в классическом радиостиле, напоминающем стиль 90-х и просто рассказывает о науке, культуре, политике, экономике. Программа международных радиостанций увлекательно рассказывает о жизни других странах, информация находится в процессе перехода на kwa chini ya kila kufanya kuingia ndani ya fainali kwa sababu ilikuwa ni historia sana kubwa kwake. Miaka 32 anaipeleka timu ndani ya fainali, ameshinda kombe la bara Afrika kwa vilabu akiwa na timu ya Mamelodi Sundowns. Hivyo ilikuwa kitu kubwa sana kwake. Unazungumzia kumkosa Mokoena, kiungo muhimu sana kwenye kiungo cha katikati.
So overall, in the end, my verdict here, I think this is just a terrific radio. It seems to be offering you little improvements on many of the other things that XHDATA have been doing well over the years. The shortwave reception here is excellent. The FM reception is excellent. Medium wave is excellent. I have no idea how the weather bands do. I cannot test that, but I'm sure it will work also. All these nice functionalities that you have on the radio, very, very simple to operate. Once you get the hang of these buttons, there's really nothing to it. A few small flaws maybe. What I mentioned earlier in my video, this little rubber strap is a little bit difficult to close sometimes because your TF card there on that side sometimes pops out when you close it. The tuning might be a bit of a hassle for many people because when you switch between the shortwave bands, I'll just show you again. You saw me doing that while I was doing my shortwave test, but let me just show you again. So when you switch between the shortwave bands, you need to hold in this band button and then it will flash and you can toggle between the different bands, as you can see there. It remembers where you were previously in that specific band that you get to. Once you reach a band, let's say the 13-meter band, then you can start tuning. But there's no keypad input here. So that is, something that a lot of people will probably miss a lot. You need to use this tuning dial. You need to tune up and down. You will never ever have to tune from 1700 kilohertz all the way up to 29999 kilohertz because you can use this band switch to toggle between the bands. So you can select the band you want to DX and then tune around there, but it still means you need to tune manually in steps, 5K steps. That takes a while. So to get through the band or to find a specific frequency, it will take a while. Of course, you can use your memory function to save stations and then just find them there. So that will help. You can also, for example, go to a station that was saved in the memory and then just exit the memory mode again and then sort of tune from that station up and down. So there are ways to get around it. For me personally, this is not a major drawback. I mean, my Eaton Elite Traveler also works like this. And if we think back in the old days, all radios worked like this. You just had to turn the dial to find your stations. I like that this is a simplified version of the XHDATA D-109, which I think it is to a certain extent. I think inside also this one shares a lot of similarities with the D-109. I think this one improved on some of the small flaws on the D-109. I think, in my opinion, we are sitting with a radio here that is almost on par with the XHDATA D-808, which is a benchmark in shortwave and medium wave listening. This is a great little radio. I really, really think you will not regret it. The price has gone up a little bit since launch. Seems to be around $41 now if you order directly from China. But I think you will be very happy with this radio. As you saw in my video, it's got all these nice functions. Everything works well. Lots of emergency functions. The addition of a phone charger is very nice, I think. The ATS scanning works very well. The sensitivity is excellent. It's just overall a really great package. And the very, very minor flaws that I mentioned, I think that does not detract from what is a very, very capable radio.